Welcome back to the Quality Connect YouTube channel. I'm Trevor and this is Andrew Wellwood, the founder of Quality Connect. And today we're going to be talking about where you should spend money on a new home build. Here's a quote from Zig Ziglar. The chief cause of failure and unhappiness is trading what you want most for what you want right now. Now here's a quick stat. Though the industry shines as a major employer, the average construction firm is quite small. In the residential sector, nearly 70% of firms have fewer than 5 employees. In the non-residential sector, almost 50% have 5 employees or fewer. So that's kind of a surprising stat on the construction industry.
It is. When you hear about the big companies, you think big, massive employers, but a lot of times they're big companies that hire a bunch of little companies to do the work.
Right.
So
and that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your history with, I'm sure you've worked with a number of different homeowners and different builders. Now, do you find that people waste money on certain things and scrimp where they shouldn't?
A lot of money spent on new home projects is personal preference. The stuff that drives me crazy is when they spend money changing something that could have been done in the planning process.
Right.
And that's when, that's what I consider wasted money. Or they hired a poor trade and they've got to bring another trade in and pay them to fix what should have been done in the first place. That's where I find the money absolutely wasted. And then a lot of it comes into personal preference when you're going through the building. Did you need granite in the ensuite? I don't know. Did you need granite in the ensuite? Depends on personal preference, I guess.
Right. All right. Well, let's get into it. Here's some questions that some people might have about this topic. Before building a new home or infill project, where should a builder or homeowner allocate funds?
Well, hiring a good project manager is very important. If you're hiring someone to do the project and you're not doing it yourself, that's where a lot of money, it'll look like it's being spent at the start for something that you're not going to get the kickback for at the end, like a nice granite countertop or something like that. Yeah. But a good project manager is worth their weight in gold. They'll get your project done right, they'll get it done on time, and they will save you a lot of money. They will save you from, we've had a large reno that we came in close to the start, and the homeowner had already spent $5,000 on engineering without an engineering report. They wanted the engineer to tell them if the trusses were load bearing on a wall, and not a single engineer went into the attic, but they all still built them. Stuff like that, where a good project manager is going to catch that at the start. They're going to catch, is my home being staked out in the right spot? Did I hire a shady surveyor that's got the elevation wrong, or got it staked in the wrong spot? That's going to cost $20,000 right there. The project manager there has already made up more than half of his fee. So that's where I believe a good amount of the portion of the money should be spent, is making sure you have a good project manager that's planning and running your project properly.
Yeah, no, planning is number one with any project. So the next question for you, Andrew, is when considering the basement of a home, is it wise to spend the budget on a deeper basement for higher ceilings?
I think that's the way the industry's going.
Okay.
8-foot basements are quite rare now, just as 8-foot main floor is quite rare. And I believe so. I believe a 9 or a 10-foot basement, if you can afford it, if you can get away. A lot of it, first off, finish that. Then when you run all your ductwork, if you do have to drop ceilings, you're not ducking in a basement. You're not living in a cave with a low ceiling and a small window. That being said, when you're doing infill projects, a lot of the time you're limited and you can't do that. The sewer height is already there in an existing neighborhood. And if you dig deeper than the sewer, shit flows downhill. And if you're the lowest guy in the block, You can go for a 10 or a 12-foot basement if you want, but it's gonna fill up fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, sometimes you are determined by existing conditions.
Awesome.
So,
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And
yeah.
always make sure how deep you're allowed to go.
Yeah.
Get it checked out first.
Yeah.
So what are some must-haves when it comes to wood framing on a new build? What are some musts?
A good framer. Like a good framer. A good framer and a good lumber supplier make a world of difference. Someone who can do a proper lumber takeoff is going to make your framer's life just that much easier. They're going to have everything they need when they want it. Deliveries are going to be on time. There's nothing worse than being short a lot of lumber when you're framing, and then you're putting orders in, and there's $75 delivery charge. And if they're not even close to the lumber takeoff at the start, your framer can't estimate it halfway through. You've got to get it closer, so your framer's continually ordering more, which frustrates them because that's not their job.
Right.
Frustrates you because your project is delayed because the trucks aren't instant, and then you're paying a $75 delivery charge or whatever it is every single time. Also, good quality lumber. I know everybody sells the same stuff, but they don't. A number 2 or better is what everyone specs. Some stuff isn't. Some stuff, comes out bad, and you want to talk with your lumber company to make sure that they will handle it. A lot of the times it isn't their call. They'll get a lift of studs that's already wrapped up and bundled, and it's wrapped up and delivered to the site. The framer opens it up, and it looks like a bunch of corded, twisted straws, and that's horrible. So having a good framer and a good lumber package is really, really important. If the house isn't square, if it isn't level, it's going to show throughout the rest of the build. So spending your money on a good framing company and a good lumber company will make a world of difference.
Fantastic. That's something I wouldn't have guessed. So thanks for sharing that. Now, what do you see homeowners wasting money unnecessarily on in a custom build?
Oh, there's some. I'm design challenged when it comes to some stuff. When it comes to colors and stuff like that, that kind of stuff blows me away. What I don't understand when it comes to homeowners and wasting money when it comes to the design would be there's a lot of side windows that go in that aren't needed, stuff like that. I think that's where the majority of it, or having a walk-in closet or an walk-in ensuite in your guest room. How long do you really want those guests to stay? Like, if they need a walk-in closet, they're not guests, they're roommates or freeloaders. Those kind of things I don't really understand. I understand you need multiple bedrooms for resale, but if you're just a couple, or if you have one child and you're not planning on more, why you're building a 6-bedroom or a 5-bedroom house, I just don't understand. I think people, and this is just my personal opinion and personal preference, if you're building the house for yourself, build it for yourself. You don't need 4 bedrooms in the basement if you're an empty nester.
Yeah, exactly. Make a rec room or something of value and use to you,
as
opposed to creating more bedrooms and bathrooms unnecessarily.
Exactly.
Perfect. Now, where do homeowners and builders make a mistake by not spending enough on better materials? Where do they cheap out?
Oh, where do they cheap out? And I know it's my background in framing that says this, but in floor systems in lumber, like the cost to get a stronger, more durable floor system, like floor joist system, and have it glued and screwed, it just makes the house that much stronger. We built a custom home for an electrician that I know, and he put 2 layers of subfloor on top and glued and screwed it, and it cost a bunch, and it was a pain to do, but you drop something on there, like you jump off the countertop and land on the floor, and it's like concrete. Nothing moves, nothing shakes. It was excellent. It was a very well designed, and he went over and above building code to do it. but it paid off huge in the long run. The other thing is insulation. Insulation, and you can do so many different varieties of insulation in your house, R20, R22, R24, like attic insulation. So much of that, you can get away with the cheaper ones. You can get away with just a basic cheap fiberglass insulation, but I find that the money you spend on that will come back to you tenfold. And same thing with a blown-in system. Like there's a lot that are doing a blown-in system in the wall, and spray foam. I know spray foam is expensive, but trying to seal off the ends of your joists and your rim board in a house is, you're trying to tape plastic to wood in the hopes to get an airtight seal. It's, I give it to the insulators. They do the absolute best that they can, and it looks like, I look at it and I'm like, that is a lot more airtight than I think I could do. But you're taping plastic to wood. Yeah. Spend the money, get the spray foam done on the rim board and the joist. It just seals your house up that much more. You'll do a blower door test at the end, test out your air efficiency on the house, and that's where you will make up the money.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, what are some things that you would change or make mandatory on all builds to turn out a better finished product?
Ooh, that's a good question. That I would make mandatory. I think gluing down your exterior walls needs to be mandatory. Tyvek underneath your insulation stops for getting the shiplap effect from any water in your attic. I believe should be mandatory. I would like to see spray foaming the rim board and the joists mandatory. It just seals everything off that much better. That's when it comes to efficiency and a solid built house. That's something that I feel should be mandatory.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing that information with us, Andrew. I love hearing your take on construction, just because you are so experienced in it. And if you guys like this, then please give us a thumbs up. Give us some comments down below so we know that you're listening and that you enjoy the content. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And keep tuning in, because we have more information coming down the pipe and we'd love to see you here. Thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.